Didn't you say out of 4?
No, out of the 15.
Oh,
or out of the, yeah.
Out of the 15,
I don't know
think
how many
most
people actually
would
jump
record.
in. Yeah, record and watch.
I think the least amount of people
So,
jump in.
if we live in a society that takes out the phone, then where's the soul? The machine
Yeah.
has taken over
That's true.
the human soul. So there is no soul to give. This is who we are. Look in the mirror. We are a society of soulless humans, walking around, caring about ourselves, worrying about what we're having for dinner, for which takeout, and very few actual human beings go out of their way to give their life for another human being, which in my opinion is really what defines us as human beings, which connects us. But as we progress, and the Apple Corporation has publicly stated that we will supplement your brain with our brain.
Yeah.
So you don't need
to
learn.
use your brain.
You can just use ChatGPT or any form of artificial intelligence in order to impress the world around you.
Yeah.
So the real question is, how does this fit in to the entire scope and narrative of my life? And I'll explain to you.
Please do.
We live in a society that requires money. And I love money, and I love hyper-capitalism more than most people do. But Jamie and I, one of the things that we are doing is we're pretty much buckling up and getting ready to be blasted off into a really awesome adventure because, hey, it's been 4 years. You ready to get back?
I'm ready.
You sure?
Let's do it.
You know, most people don't understand what multifaceted is, but this channel is really multifaceted. And one of the facets I want to introduce to you is that, hey, Jamie's gone through a lot of changes in the last 4 years. And I'm not saying like Jamie used to be a man or any of those types of changes. I'm just saying that Jamie is not a new person, but the person that I met. And the person that I met was a really amazing mother, and you're still an amazing mother. And the person that I met was really organized and extremely talented in all facets of assisting someone like myself. But there was one void that was created by me. And that void is that you really weren't happy in your personal life. And I really want to make note that you're a mother. And as a mother of 3 children, it is very difficult to discuss a human being. I'm a father of 2 children. So the first thing that anyone that's critical of this content will do will throw our children in our face.
Yeah.
Our children will throw themselves in our face in regards to this content and say like, oh, this is embarrassing, this is horrible, all this other stuff. But I want to remind all 5 of the children that are watching this that we're related to that we are progressing rapidly into a digital world of transparency where you can't get away from anyone or anything. And you need to be able to be comfortable in your own skin living in this world.
Yeah.
And human beings who don't understand this channel are simply old. They're old.
Yeah.
And they haven't progressed fast enough.
Yeah, you
with,
said this
yeah, you
before.
guys
Yeah,
are
they're
old. You're living in a different fucking century.
Yeah.
You know, you got these baldies and fatties walking around. I'm telling you, and I'm fat, but like I'm not bald yet. And I think that if I lost my hair, I would just stop eating. And I don't mean like from cancer, God forbid, any of those, like, I'm just talking about just male pattern baldness. Just the straight up bald. And every joke on Curb Your Enthusiasm about, well, I'm a bald guy, you know, I'm just like, oh God. Like, that could only be created in like a world of Viagra. There's like no world where like bald guys really prophesized the comedic nature of being bald. It's really, I know you might think I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's really remarkable how low a bar men have set for themselves in the way they interact with women. And they've created this sexual element as the threshold for when they hold the door. Like, if I'm having sex with this woman, I will be nice to her. And if I'm not having sex with her, then fuck her. Like, you know, like, that's a play on words, but these men that we find ourselves in a society around are so selfish that every single person that watched this content gravitated towards a sexual element between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Nobody for a second thought that, hey, maybe they're just best friends and he's just helping her out.
Yeah.
I actually have a best friend that's a female, and she'll tell you, she'll be the first person to tell you, be like, you know what, Dan is so crazy, I can't even have a conversation with him. But when shit hits the fan, you know, she has an amazing husband, but I believe that she knows who the person...
Who number one is on the dial.
Well, because I would work, first off, I work with her husband. He's a really normal human being, and he's a great team member, so has someone who doesn't take direction from anyone. He'd be a perfect person to partner up with. So, and that's one of the reasons why you and I are so successful in the back end. On the front end, it's very easy to see the failures that I have to be subjugated to in public and the ridicule, because frankly, when a human being is raped financially by endless amounts of attorneys, he ends up having complexes the same as any rape victim.
You use it very, very appropriately.
Well, because, you know, I left myself vulnerable and open by basically saying, all right, I got to do this YouTube content. I have to tell the world what the hell is going on. I have to do my job. But at the same time, I have a personal life that's going to blow up all in my face, because I live in a town of bullies, and these bullies will band together. And I'm not a drinker. I don't drink alcohol routinely. Sometimes I do, but I almost always end up vomiting. And I find alcohol to be one of the top 5 biggest vices.
I'm with you.
There's
there.
5 main addictions that I found myself dabbling in, and those top 5 I'm gonna address after I take a break, because the goal of this content is for you to be able to publish it without having to review it right now, so that you can watch it to make sure that I don't say anything.
I don't really. I'm usually and it's not that not like that. Meaning, like, I don't watch it for that. I watch it more for content of
No,
you understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I don't understand, nor do I want to dive into this subject matter, because there are humans that do watch every second of this content. So these videos are simply directed for you to publish without pre-editing.
That's what I mean. I don't edit. There's no editing that goes on. I just watch for content. I don't watch to edit.
This content is supposed to be fully free form.
Oh, 100%.
And you can just publish it because there's nothing offensive.
That was my
my walking on eggshells regarding talking about children really is temporary, because it's only a matter of time until our children grow up and we're able to have children raised in a digital world that are not afraid of the sentient algorithm. Right now, you have to remember that our kids are being raised by people afraid of the algorithm. So their fear is only temporary while they're young. When they get older, they're not going to react to the algorithm because they were raised inside of it. So for example, there's a lot of bald men that hate this channel. And those men are afraid of the algorithm because they have secrets. They were raised in a world where they were allowed to have secrets. Our children are not raised in that world, but these people want to bring them down and bring them back into an older time. So when they're older and they're raising children, they're going to know that at any time, anyone they bully can start a YouTube channel and call the bullies out. So really, that's what you're about to see in the next couple of weeks is, you know, unfortunately for everyone that's watching this, I'm a very non-violent pacifist. So when you see people and reacting to my content, that is because they're liars and they're being outed. So one of the things that I didn't say is that you and I are victims of social bullying agendas run by full-blown alcoholics. And I'm very proud of you as my friend who's really stopped drinking on a daily basis and has taken stock over who you are, because I invested in you a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that wanted to destroy your abilities to be here on camera today and to react towards my words and be my partner in this, because the algorithm really is designed for one person to be in control. So that's why Jake and Logan Paul were split up. That's why, and whether or not my personal opinion of whether I like him or not, it's absolutely irrelevant for the purpose of this conversation.
It's impossible
we are
for
the
them
first
to be together.
actual pair So it's Jamie and Dan Reese is on YouTube. That's great, but a lot of the reason why I guess my wife hates this content is because she is old. She's not. She's really young. She's really beautiful, but her mentality is from her parents. It's not her own mentality. It's a different generation. It's a generation that looks at the screen and believes it's real.
Yeah. That makes sense.
The real Dan Reeses is a very loving, normal human being. The digital Dan Reeses.
Digital Dan.
Digital Dan Reeses is arrogant, obnoxious, but in reality, I'm the same way, except no one gets anything except my words at home. So you're not really. Honestly, it's a really amazing magic trick that I've created. But
Digital Dan and regular Dan.
Yeah, of course, Digital Dan Reeses. And I want to wrap this up talking about Matt Rose really quickly, because it starts out talking about Matt Rose.
Yeah, that's true. It did.
And I'll tell you something. What's interesting? I had two very close friends growing up, Matthew Rose and Gary Rubinoff. And do you know something that they have in common?
Tell me. Other than being friends with you.
Gary moved to Livingston and bought Matthew Rose's house. My two only friends were raised in the same house.
You're kidding.
No, it's on Mayhew Drive.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Which really is Matthew, just misspelled.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a jaw dropper. And that's the craziest part about my relationship with Matthew, is that the greatest conspiracy theories are right in front of our eyes, and like Matthew chooses to engage in